Around a month ago, I started working on a Roblox game called Zobie Haze. It was my first serious game project, as I've made one game before, but it was a mid-tycoon game with some FPS elements. I've mostly made that game to learn how to use Roblox Studio and code in Lua. And with the shit I've learned from my last game, I started working on my new game, called Zobie Haze. The premise of the game is pretty simple, as it is similar to games like Left 4 Dead or Call of Duty Zombies. You solo or with up to 3 other players are put in a map overrun by zombies, where you will need to complete objectives to unlock more locations on the map. Get better guns and other upgrades scattered on the map with the main goal of escaping. There will be different levels and ways to upgrade your character between the matches. I'll touch on that later in the video though. And now, with everything said, enjoy the video. The first thing I wanted to do was learn how to animate it, as I never done so before. I found a video from a guy called Meepman, great tutorial by the way. With that, I've made my first animation. And I think it's shit. So I logged in and made 2 more animations. And I think they turned out much better than the first one. With those basic animations done, it was time to start coding the gun system, which I found another good tutorial made by a guy called Aaron K. Well, I finished part 3 of the tutorial and wanted to go to the part 4, but there is no part 4. Turns out this guy made first 3 parts of the tutorial and then abandoned it. So I was left with somewhere around 30% of a gun system, where I had only shooting, aiming and reloading, but with no working damage, no ammo, no audio, no UI and no movement, so I had to do these things alone. First, I've added ammo count and basic UI, which shows you your ammo count and the current gun you're holding, as you can see on the video. Next thing on my list was to make my gun do damage and improve movement for the player, so I've added sprinting, crouching, sliding and reworked the way the player jumps. Mostly I just added a cooldown to jumping and made it consume stamina. I've added stamina too, so that the players can't just run around the map ignoring all the zombies. There are also those minor touches to make the game feel more polished, such as bullet holes, mag dropping on the floor when reloading, and audio for the things you do. I've also made the footsteps sound different depending on if you walk, run or crouch. With that, I feel like the gun template is completed, so I can start adding more guns to the game. As you guys can see, I now added 3 guns to the game. The first new gun is an M4. I'm sure that everyone watching knows this gun, as it is in basically every single game where you have guns. It's like the most average gun ever. Average fire rate, damage, range and recoil. Also, I've added another new mechanic, knifing. Basically, when you click F on your keyboard, you stop in front of you with a knife, one-shotting zombies you hit. Another gun is an MP5, submachine gun with high DPS in close range, but not as good in a mid to long range as it has a lot of recoil. And the last gun out of the 3 is my MK11, a marksman rifle with very slow fire rate and small magazine size, but with very high damage, high enough to kill a basic zombie with a single headshot. Also, I've made, depending on the caliber of your gun, the bullet holes are different. And after adding those guns, I had to take 2 week break as I had a lot of exams coming up at school. When I came back, I decided to make a gun inventory system. The plan was so that the player would have 2 slots for the guns, and he would spawn with a USP as a starting pistol at the start of every game. Whenever he would buy a second gun, it would go into the empty second slot, but when he would buy a third gun, while there was a gun in both of his slots, the new gun will replace the one player has currently equipped. And also, he could switch between his guns using 1 and 2 keys or scroll. It wasn't anything complicated and it should have been easy to add, but a very serious problem emerged. Well, it turned out that my whole gun system was flawed by design, as I had every gun hold its own copy of local scripts, the blue ones, and server scripts, the white ones. And I had no idea it was wrong, as when testing them I was putting guns in starter pack folder on Studio, and everything worked fine. However, when I made the inventory system, I had to put my guns in replicated storage and give the guns from the storage to the player when he bought them. And that's where the problem in my design appear, as for some reason, you can't have server scripts in replicated storage, I don't know why, but when you copy server scripts from storage to player, it just what wonk, no matter what I do. So now I have to rewrite my whole gun system so that all guns have one main server script outside of replicated storage instead of them all having their own script. Since I was already reworking the weapon system, I also decided to rework the audio system. So now all the sound you make is 3D, and further away someone is from you, the quieter they'll hear you. As you can see in the bottom left corner, on the new UI I've made, there are points. You get them for killing zombies, and then you can spend them on different things, such as those weapon wall buys I've added. The weapon inventory system works now. You can hold only 2 guns at the time, and you can switch between them using scroll or keyboard. Only thing's wrong is that the animation when you pull out your gun looks kinda weird right now. But I'll fix that later. Also, there will be 2 kinds of doors. Ones where you will need to pay them to open them, and others which will require you to complete a certain objective to open. I think that now is the time to talk some more about the progression system I plan for this game. As you can see, there will be 3 main ways you can upgrade your character. The first is perk upgrades. There is not much to talk about this one, as if you played COD Zombies before you most likely know what perks are, and perk upgrades will just make those perks stronger. There will be 2 currencies to upgrade your character, some sort of war bonds or just cash, and the Zobie Haze sample. With cash, you can upgrade your main class or buy subclasses, and with Zobie Haze samples, you can upgrade your perks. You get both of those just for playing the game. There will be special rooms on maps where you can collect them. Some of those rooms you get access by simply following the main objective of the map, and others you will need to solve some sort of hidden puzzle to get inside. Then about the most interesting part of the progression system, classes and subclasses. The main classes will be a class you can switch in between the games, which can also upgrade with every level, giving you access to new passive and active abilities and change the way you play the game. For example, basic level 1 medic would have some passive that makes him revive players faster, but on level 2 he would get an active ability in form of first aid kit, which would heal nearby players. On level 3 he would get another passive, and on level 4 he would get another active ability. So the main classes are the ones that would give players certain roles on the team, and subclasses would be one specific trait player can choose which is not dependent on his main class. Something like 20% max stamina and movement speed, or 40% more damage with guns at the cost of minus 20% of movement speed. So there will be ones that give a small buffs with no downsides, and others that give a great buffs at cost of some downsides. For the release of the game, I plan at least 3 main classes, however it might increase to 4, so every player on the team can have a different class, and somewhere around 6 or more subclasses. For the lobby zone, I made this basic sketch of how I want the layout to look like. The setting is a parking lot,
in the middle of the forest at night with a small wooden hut to the side. It took me somewhere around 4 to 5 hours to build, but I think it looks very good. Don't mind the brightest sun though. Quick fix and now everything looks like it should. I plan to make this hut a place where players can upgrade their stuff in the future. But right now there is nothing except some decorations in here. Also, those teleporters you see around here do work already, but I'm not gonna show them yet, as they aren't fully finished. I also did hide a lot of Easter eggs around this map for people to look for. That would be everything for this video. For the next video I plan on adding zombies to the game with my own custom models, but to do that I need to learn modeling in Blender. And looking at how long those tutorials are, it sure ain't gonna be easy. Also, if you're still here, that means you did like the video, and I would appreciate if you would give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, as it would help me out a ton. Bye guys!